Looks like we're live. Not sure what happened with the intro there, but the internet's really, really wacky. Somebody give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. Somebody let me know if you can hear me.
Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure this is streaming. Let's see if it is. Oh, well, apparently it is. Yeah, somebody give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. I'm going to continue with the show as if it's going. I apologize. The internet's just been down, up and down all morning. I've lost connection 2 or 3 times in the last 15 minutes. So there's a good chance this show might not continue. It will record. I'll post it later. So at least we have that. It should record. Don't know. It's kind of then my mic muted. Browser failed to play a clip. Man, I don't know what's going on here. Internet is just messed up, folks. I'm going to refresh this. Give me a second. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, hopefully you all can hear me again. I got a 5x5 earlier in the private chat, so at least I know this is streaming over there. So, somebody do me a favor, come on to YouTube and, give me a 5x5 in the comments over here too. So apologize for, again, the messed up beginning of the show. Just in case the disclaimer didn't go out there, nothing we say is investment advice. This is all entertainment purposes only. Read the disclaimer. In the in the description, we got a free algo. Check that out. Links in the description. And again, that's really cool. You get to see me build an algo, and you have to optimize it. It's not ready to trade, but I also show you how to connect it to your broker. I show you the tools that people use to do that. Massive win on the USDJPY, right? So I called this out. I think it was Tuesday. Let's see on the calendar here. Yeah, it was on Tuesday. I called this move out, and it went beautifully. I mean, it just right down a target, and it's bounced up just after this target. Now, to look at this chart, is price going to kind of reverse up right now? I mean, it obviously is climbing a little bit, and we just had the news come out for, I think it was unemployment data just came out. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Nice little hook up that started actually at about 7 a.m. EST. So price started to come back up around that time. And it does show that it may want to continue up. That's going to have to kind of be monitored. There's a lot of bearishness left in this. So the real question is, as I jump back out to a higher time frame here, is this price going to actually retrace back to the beginning of the move, or is it just going to maybe grab some liquidity and come down? Now, just based on what I'm seeing, if I had to take a guess as to what is going to happen, it's going to be one of 2 things, right? It's going to be something like a move up here, and it might kind of crawl or not. It might move in a strong way or not. And then it might grab liquidity and continue down. That liquidity could actually be grabbed a little higher. It could go up to say 155.45, or it could just stop right here and go down. It could also happen faster, slower, but in general, I think we're going to see a move up and then a reversion back down, and probably today. But the move up is probably going to be stronger than yesterday's move up, most likely. But the high time frame is still pretty bearish. Now, the other thing that could happen is we see a move up here, and then a range start to build around this area, right? That can also happen, where instead of moving up, continuing down, we see a range, and then of course at that point we're not going to know really which way it's going to go, whether it reverses up or down. Meaning, if this range develops on the USDJPY like this, then we're not really going to know if it's going to break to the upside or downside until it actually does. So that's something we have to kind of be careful about. I do see a few people in the audience, so do me a favor in the comments. Let me know if you can hear me. I'll actually type that in here. If you can hear me, please. Again, I don't even know if this broadcast is going through. be honest. So hopefully it is. I'll just continue as if it is, right? So now there's been a lot of talk on the Japanese yen carry trade, unwinding the Japanese debt. The bonds are, at 10-year highs, whatever the number is. Let's see, JGB, and this will affect like everything. This will affect the stock markets, Bitcoin. I mean, there's no place this doesn't affect in the markets, and the reason is that the Japanese debt is what has been powering like all of the stock market and around the world, not just the US, like the entire world economy of the West, basically, which affects the economy of the East. The Japanese yen and their debt, really, there's a carry trade. I'm not going to dig too deep into what that is right now. It would take too long, take too much of this. People want to know what's going to happen in the charts. But to make it really simple for you, if the way that we treat the Japanese yen and the world economy changes, something's going to have to take its place. And if that doesn't, then we're going to see a lot of markets fall, because that's just a lot of liquidity, right? Meaning that the liquidity is like basically, the money that one can play with. And if that's not there, if there's no money to play with, then these markets, they just dump. And I'm looking for, the JPY 30-year price, JPY 10-year price. So let's see here, JPY 30Y and JP 30Y. So, I mean, to look at it on a high time frame, to go back through time and just look at it on the weekly, I mean, of course, this is continuing up, but if you look at it going back, this chart isn't showing. There we go. Now it's showing. So back in 2007, Japanese yen carry trade in the last 20 years, 25 years, you could see that the debt keeps getting cheaper and cheaper. And that's because they've been like gutting the yen, right? And you see this steady trends. Well, this is actually heading up. That's the 30-year. That's their long bond. So as their debt becomes more expensive, then you get a problem, right? We saw a big move in, I think it was 2024, July, August, April, May, June, July. So July 2024, there were some pretty big fluctuations that went on. So there's a big move here in April of 25. So the debt itself, that's one thing to look at. Give me 1 second. Let's make sure I'm looking at the right chart here. Yeah. The Japanese yen itself, the price of the yen, if you zoom out and look at this. Now, this is the dollar versus the yen. The higher this goes, the weaker the yen, right? So if this really starts to fall, right, it topped out at 160. It's been higher. It was higher back in July 24. That was when we saw a major change in the markets right here. This is when Japan started to hike their rates right there. You saw the yen fall. And when this happened, if I were to bring up the NASDAQ and overlay the NASDAQ on top of this, you notice the NASDAQ took a nasty dump right there too. And you'll notice that here when the yen fell, or when the yen got stronger, right, you noticed this fell as well. Now there's a kind of a reverse effect. When the stock market falls, money flows into the Japanese yen and it becomes stronger as well. So there's that effect. But we got to be careful. We got to watch out for such things, right? Okay, good. So we've talked enough about the Japanese yen. Let's jump over to Bitcoin. And we started late due to technical issues. So we will, we'll go a little bit over the usual time here. So Bitcoin has like pressure to the upside and the downside, but we're starting to see the bulls have enough strength to push price up and to counteract the bears. So my original kind of thoughts from weeks ago, my call out from weeks ago, was that price would drop from, and this was going back to like 2 weeks ago, November 19th, 2.5 weeks ago, the price would kind of scoop out the bottom here and then come back up slowly through December. It looks like more or less what I said was going to happen is kind of correct, at least in a price action standpoint. It's just happening sooner, and it didn't go quite as deep. I thought it would go to 78,000 and it went to 80,000, right? So let's point this out. I thought it would go to 78,000. It went to 80,000. So that's more or less correct. And I thought it would kind of grind up slowly, but it's just pushing up more quickly since then. But the general idea of what I said does seem to have been correct. It just happened a lot quicker than I thought, right? So a lot of it has to do with the NASDAQ coming up. So right now, just to predict Bitcoin, I'm still thinking that 97,000 is realistic. It's taken a minute to get there. As I kind of drew, this, I'm going to turn these older predictions blue. I'll keep them there. Eventually I'll get rid of them. I'm going to code those blue, but this was like yesterday's look. And I do think Bitcoin will kind of grind its way up to 97,000. Now it might do it in a few different ways. It might, kind of pull one of these or one of those, right? So it can do it a lot of different ways, but Bitcoin tends to, when it moves up, when it decides to move, it really moves. So something like this is probably pretty like realistic, or maybe something like this, where it grinds sideways and then it just pops up. It's probably what's going to happen. This is a general idea. I wouldn't look at this to be like, oh, this exactly didn't happen on the hour that he said. Like, okay, anybody who talks like that's not a trader. But that being said, I think that's kind of what we're looking at, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look real quick at the NASDAQ, and then we're going to move to the strictly to the private live lab. Let me see what any comments on the live lab. Just joining now. Cool. Hey, Meko, can you jump over on YouTube and let me know if we're coming through on there? There's been a lot of internet issues as you know today. So just throw a comment in the YouTubes just so I know it's working. NASDAQ kind of doing what I thought, more or less. Just the news hasn't affected it. We haven't even looked at the news yet. It's unemployment data, so that's a big deal. But it's just grinding sideways. There is upward pressure, so it's looking good, right? So it is heading up here. I think we'll see if it can break above 25,825, like this little resistance right there. I think it will. The 19th is something we have to watch out for in December. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate that, bud. December 19th is something we're going to have to watch out for, guys. That's the Japanese yen, whether or not they're going to hike rates. So this is the end of the week, the yellow bar there, but the Japanese yen is around this time. Now, unlike every other country, they don't schedule their announcements. They just say, hey, we're going to do it maybe on this day, and it usually happens that day or the next. And in a way, it's almost kind of more honest because people are not able to game the system, or at least it only allows like the hyper insiders to game the system. I don't know if that's more honest or not, but the point is that the 19th is going to be a date where the NASDAQ might, have some problems, and that would really negate any kind of Santa rally. And I've heard that it's like an 80% probability that we're going to see a rate hike. So thank you all for watching. I'm going to hop over to Private Live Lab. We're going to cover gold, silver, forex, more cryptos, as we do every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We start this at 8:30 a.m. EST. We go through whatever you request in the charts. I usually go through like the most popular stuff or whatever wins. And then if you guys have certain charts you want to see, you can leave it in the comments, whether you're watching this afterwards or whether you're watching it at the time. You leave a comment, say, hey, I want to see, this chart, and I'll be happy to chart it for you. Provided that it's like a chart that makes sense. Like, I want to see what's going to happen to my, I don't know, Gopher coin. Like, okay, if you want me to chart a meme coin, I might not chart it, or whatever chart I do is going to be extremely sarcastic and limited. But if you want to see like, a real chart, let me know. And that includes cryptos too. And we'll do that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Much love. And we will catch you on the flip side. Never forget.
Join us or die.
Just kidding. You're not going to die. We love you. Look, my background went away. I've got a green screen. That's amazing. Man, the internet's really jacked up today. I have to fix that. Love you all. I wonder if it was like that the whole time.